most people don't even talk about. Most people don't even really understand and know what's possible for them. And so I want to share with you an aspect of financial freedom that most people don't talk about and really give you a truth behind it. Now, there are about four things I want to share with you, but what I'm about to say next is not one of those things. But what I want you to really understand, know, and truly believe is that financial freedom is your birthright. Now, that might be hard for some people to lead because they've struggled for so long and because they don't have a lot of money and because of whatever they believe financial freedom to be, they don't even believe that it's possible for somebody like them to actually experience it. And the thing that I want you to understand is this: if there is something in this life that is the absolute best in this life that you can experience, why would you not experience it? Why would it be reserved for other people and not be reserved for you? What is it that you have done that's so wrong that you feel like this is for them, but it's not for you? And here's the thing: it does not matter where you grew up, where you were born to, who you were born to, where you were born at, when you, none of that matters. Financial freedom is still your birthright. Are there phenomenal, people that don't have wealth? Of course it is. They don't have it yet. And that's what I'll say. Are there people that are super rich that are evil? Of course it is. Are there broke people that are evil? Of course it is. So I want you to understand that when it comes to money and wealth and being rich, first and foremost, it's not tied to somebody being good or bad. When it comes to being wealthy, people get wealthy because of laws. Laws does not care who use them. Like they are not prejudiced, racist. It does not matter who use certain laws. When you use the law properly, you get the result on the other side of whatever that law promises or whatever that law demands. And there are certain laws and principles that whoever uses them, they're going to get the print, like the result of that law, if you will. But going back to financial freedom, it is your birthright. And it's something that I really want you to, if you don't believe it already, I want you to, even if you don't believe it, just try it on for a little bit. Like just try it on for a couple of months and just see what happens. Because when you think that something is your right to have, you fight for it a whole lot more than if you think it's something that's just nice to have. And I'll be fully transparent. For most of my life, I wanted to be rich and I wanted to be wealthy and I wanted to have a lot of money, but I didn't believe it was possible for me. I didn't believe it was possible for me because of circumstances in my life, because of circumstances with the people that I loved growing up, and because I never really saw somebody who had what I wanted to possess. So it's like if I never saw anybody have what I wanted to possess, it was very difficult for me to think that it was even possible, period, specifically for me. But it wasn't until I started to understand certain laws and certain principles and understand that the people that I love, they just haven't had access to those laws and principles yet because they were dealing with other stuff. The reality is this: sometimes you have to deal with what's in front of you. And certain people, they just don't have the luxury to deal with learning about financial freedom when they have these fires in front of them. It still does not mean that they can't have it. The reality is they're just dealing with something that's more important at that specific time. And with that being said, I want you to never use it as an excuse to not go after financial freedom. Because regardless to what fires you might have in your life, what problems you might have in your life, people that you might have to take care of, or whatever else, it's still your birthright. That's owed to you. Now, when I'm saying owed to you, meaning that the government is not supposed to give it to you. Somebody at your job is not supposed to give it to you. There's something within you that you're supposed to give to the world. And as a result of you giving to the world, you get back in return what it is that is owed to you by your gifts and your talents being given to the world in a way that only you can bring it. Because sure, there's other people that have the same gifts and talents as you, but they're not you. And there's a way that you could bring it to the world that nobody else can. And once you do that, you will get your wealth in accordance to your gift, your talent, your ability to bring value to the world that's currently not there. Now, I want to get into these four things because maybe everything that I said thus far, you don't agree with me, period. Or it's just hard for you to believe. But I think sometimes we don't realize that reasons come first and results come second. And when you get a reason to do something, there is nothing that's going to stop you if that reason is strong enough to get that result on the other side of that reason. And when you think about wealth being your birthright, like the fact that something is owed to you, like that's yours, it's for you to possess. That might be all the reason you need to now possess it because it's that's a birthright, like that's owed to you. And no matter how old you are, even if you're only 20 years old, if you've gone 20 years and you have not gotten what you rightfully deserve because it's yours, you feel robbed of 20 years of experiencing something that you should have had from day one. And I want you to like take that if you need to get like a righteous anger, whatever you need to do, but whatever fuels you, I want you to take that, hold on to it, and use that to get to where you're supposed to be from a financial freedom perspective, because that is your birthright. And understand this, financial freedom doesn't look the same for everybody. Like financial freedom for you might look totally different from financial freedom to somebody, in California or Chicago or Texas or Nebraska, like, so understand that financial freedom is different for everybody. And one of the things that a lot of us as humans, and I've been there as well, we make the mistake of comparing riches and wealth and even happiness and financial freedom to what it looks like on somebody else. I mean, that's equivalent to if you wear, a double X shirt like I do, and somebody else wears a 5X shirt, me trying to put on their shirt, or somebody who wears a small, me trying to put on their shirt, it's not going to look right. Guess what? It's also not going to feel right either. And that's exactly what we do when it comes to riches and wealth, because there are certain things that nobody really talks about and we don't really understand. And I didn't understand for a long time either. And that's why I want to share this with you, because I think that once you really understand financial freedom, you'll understand how close it is for you and that it is 100% your birthright. So the one thing that I want to share with you is this. The reason why financial freedom is important is because financial freedom gives you the ability to buy freedom for the people that you love. Think about what I'm saying. Financial freedom gives you the ability to buy freedom for the people that you love. Maybe just like me, there's people in your family that might be a little bit older and they're still working. Like they've been working for 40, 50, almost 60 years. And they're not working just to have something to do. They're working because they have to. And some of those people, you might feel in your heart, man, they paid their dues. They've been working, like they're really phenomenal. I love them. I wish I could do more for them. And sometimes one of the best things you could do for them is buy their freedom. I'm in different circles, and there's so many entrepreneurs where they have the big houses, they have the nice cars, they have the luxury items, the luxury vacations. But before all of that, and this is not something that they had to do, but they understood that there's a level of freedom and fulfillment at the same time when you also consider others. One of the first things that they did was they retired their parents. Like being able to go to your like your mom or your dad, or somebody else that you love, and just say, you know what, you've been doing great. You haven't really seen all of what I've been doing and how I make my money, but I want to give you the option to call in the word dead. Tell them you never coming back, or work part-time if it's someplace that you really love, because sometimes people really love their job and they don't want to quit, but they don't want to work as hard as they're working or as long as they're working. But either way, financial freedom gives you the ability to buy freedom for the people that you love. And here's the full reality is growing up in this society today, when you think about how fast things are going and you think about how many skills that are needed to really like make a living, and you think about the prices of houses and cars and the cost of living, everything going up, and you think about maybe the young people in your family that just don't quite have the skills necessary to be able to make it at the level where you desire for them to be based on their skill set and based on how much things are going up. I'm not saying just handicap them and just hand them a whole bunch of money. What I'm saying is this: you can give yourself uh, a comfort in your heart that knowing that you can hire them to do something. Like, you're not just giving it to them, but you can hire them to do something, because so often we beg, borrow, and steal for our children to have a seat at somebody else's table because we don't have a table of our own. And I don't care what area you're coming from that perspective, but sometimes the best thing that we can do is have a table of our own for the people that we love to come to. Now, if they still choose to go to another table, that's perfectly fine. But giving them an option to come to your table, that's a birthright. Like that is something that we're supposed to have. And here's the reality: that's not something that only comes from having a business. You don't have to have a business in order to create a table. But having financial freedom, it just gives you so many more options that most people never even consider, because they don't even believe that it's possible for them. And that brings me to my second point. You know, when you think about financial freedom, it gives you certain choices that most people just don't have. Because most people, they got to live where they can afford. They got to buy cars that they can afford. They can only go on vacation if they can afford it. They can only buy the best food if they can afford it. They can only buy these things if they're on sale. That's not choice. That's being forced to buy something under certain conditions. And when you are financially free, it gives you the ability to buy whatever you want, even though you don't choose to. Because so often, you think about COVID, and people got all of the, if you live in the United States, people got all of this stimulus money. And because they were not used to having money, the first thing they did was went out and they spent it all, because they like, look, you put this in my account, you're not getting this back, and they spent it all because they're not used to having money. But it's like when you have freedom, you don't go out and just spend things because you're fearful of never having it. When you have financial freedom, you understand that you live in abundance, and you don't have to go out and just spend because you don't know if you ever get a chance to experience it again, because you have it. And it's like, you think about people that have a full refrigerator full of food, they're not really worried about eating because they have it. People that have a lot of money, they're not really worried about money because they have it. And it's like, that's what money does. It gives you the ability to just have choices that a lot of other people just never get to experience. And it's like, when you can experience choice on that level, you can also pick and choose people that you love to give them certain choices that maybe they didn't have before you did. But being able to buy whatever you want to sometimes changes your taste buds in terms of a desire, because it's like, you know what? I don't even want it. I really wanted it really bad when I couldn't have it. I really wanted it really bad when I couldn't afford it. But now that I got a chance to have money, and I can buy 10 of whatever I wanted before, I don't even really want that anymore. Because I realized that me buying that was only going to give me a feeling for a temporary period of time that I thought was going to satisfy me. And guess what? Me having this level of freedom, me having this level of choice, me having this financial freedom and money, I get that feeling without the purchase. That's powerful. And I'll say this: when you think about financial freedom, and you probably heard me talk about this in one of my other videos, but financial freedom, the key factor in that word is freedom. It's not just the finances, it's the freedom. Because there's a lot of people that have a lot of money, billions of dollars. You see them all the time. They have billions of dollars, but they're not free. And if you have all this money, but you really don't enjoy it, you really can't enjoy it because you're not free, then what is it really doing you? And for me, freedom simply means when you have nothing to hide, nothing to prove, nothing to defend, and nothing to protect. When you have those four elements, even if you don't have finances, you have freedom. That's something that most people don't have. And it's like when you couple the money on with those four things and you put those together, that's the ultimate lifestyle. And reality is you don't have to have millions to experience that. Like having enough money to give yourself choice and options, and then you have the freedom, like that will cause you to have a lifestyle that's much more than somebody who's making $100 million a month. And they're trying to spend all their money trying to get to where they're already at. And I really want you to make sure that you don't minimize that, because so often we already possess things that people that have 100 times more money than we may ever have in our life, they're trying to spend all of their money trying to get what we already have. And I want you to just consider that, because it's reality. Like right now, you have something right now that somebody's praying for, and if there was a way to purchase it, they spend all of their money to possess it. You already have it. And I'm saying appreciate those things and go for the money at the same time. It's not either or, it's an and, because it's all about abundance. But when you really focus on financial freedom from this perspective, it also does this last thing I talk about as well. It really removes stress. And just to be more specific, it removes chronic stress. So I wrote last called Money is Killing Me There. You guys giving the book away for free because I want as many people as possible to really understand what chronic and acute stress is doing to our daily lives. And if you're interested in that book, you can go to stopmoneymisery.com. Get a free copy at stopmoneymisery.com. But when you are financially free, it truly removes chronic stress. And we don't want to talk about it in our country, but chronic stress is one of the number one killers in the United States. It's not just killing people just because. It's not something that people inherit. It's not even about food that you eat. Chronic stress that's killing most people in America is due to financial instability. That's the number one cause of why it's killing so many people. So when I learned about that, I wanted as many people as I possibly can to learn about it so we can actually do something about it. Because in our country, like, our money is backed by debt. That's the system. It's all about keeping the debt going. That's not a bad thing. But it's all about how you use it. There's something good debt and bad debt. It's all about how you use it. That's a whole other video. But the thing that I also want you to understand is that when it comes to financial freedom is something that's critical for you to prepare for in advance. Just with anything, always prepare for war and time of peace. Because when you prepare for war and war is too late. When you prepare for war and time of peace, that's when you can ensure that you're over any battle that's on the other side of threatening any freedom that you have. And when I'm saying there for war and time of peace, meaning that when you have money and you can buy something but you don't need it, think about how can I leverage this money to work for me? I profit. How can I get this money to work for me and be able to buy something even bigger or better, or use this money to somehow buy that, like that lazy go days where you buy something that constantly pays you. It's like it's a genius topic. I use money from that perspective.